Today we will discuss something interesting, a better presentation with an outstanding PowerPoint. This will definitely help the postgraduate scholars and the new generation teachers for an effective teaching. It is a desire of every student that their teacher will give them some meaningful learning experience that will help them to fight the challenges of their life. Always remember, it is a desire of every student that their teacher will give them some meaningful learning experience rather than simply teaching the theory. They would like to get something that will help them to face the challenges in their life. Always remember throughout your teaching period. So we will discuss about how to prepare good PowerPoint presentations or keynote presentations, how to organize the slides, how to present the seminars, how to become a good lecturer or a speaker, and finally, attributes and responsibilities of a faculty or a postgraduate scholar. I know that you know many things about teaching, but this may be a changing agent, an add on. Can you imagine how many hours a postgraduate student or a UG student spend inside the classroom of the campus? Can you imagine that? Nearly 4,500 hours inside the classroom during undergraduation and nearly 6,550 hours inside the campus or the classroom by a postgraduate student. Now the students and teachers must introspect whether we utilized this much of hours effectively or not. The teachers must definitely introspect whether we utilized this 4,500 hours during UG and nearly 6,550 hours during post graduation effectively. Okay? So, the professional college teaching that may involve three aspects. First one, that is knowledge, that is cognitive, that is active, constructive, and long lasting. Remember, the professional college teaching, the knowledge is long lasting throughout their life. Suppose if you are teaching a group of doctors, their knowledge that should be till their death, long lasting knowledge about that particular subject. And the second one, that is a skill, psychomotor. We are teaching some skills in professional colleges. Suppose in a medical profession, like the how to give an IV or how to remove a catheter, etc., etc. And the third one, the attitude, the heart and the mind. That is an unavoidable thing in professional college teaching. So, the professional college teaching means an application level teaching. In front of us, not the students, but the clinicians or the practitioners are sitting. Clinicians or practitioners are sitting, always remember, in front of us, not merely the student. So, the syllabus is an outline only. We have to teach beyond the syllabus, beyond the boundaries, and beyond the boundaries of our knowledge. That is a professional college teaching. In this digital age of Guru Purnima, thank you for everything. I search and you give me unconditional sea of information. So this is a scenario nowadays. The students may have more knowledge than us because everything is there in their mobile phone. So our classes should not be a boring one. In the earlier days, if you want to conduct an orchestra, we need a lot of instruments. Now a mobile only is required to conduct an orchestra. So the scenario is entirely different in this digital age. Always think about why I am teaching this subject. So we have to visualize the success. After our teaching, the students will get something. They must get some concept or the fact. So the rationale why I am teaching the subject, that should be in our mind. And never start your classes with an apology. I didn't get enough time to prepare like that, or I am not the person supposed to take the class now. So never start your classes with an apology. Now we'll discuss something about the role of PowerPoint in teaching and learning. Role of PowerPoint in teaching and learning in a precise and simple way. PowerPoint presentation yields positive result among the speakers, teachers and students. That's a fact. That will definitely enhance the effectiveness of classroom teaching. That is definitely enhance the effectiveness of communication of the classroom teaching. So the three major advantages of the PowerPoint presentations that will help to reduce the talking verbatim of the speaker. We need to speak only a few words. Then the second one, they make the communication situation more interesting. Rather than a monotonous lecture, they have to see some images, some videos, some slides. So the communication situation will become more interesting and that will help to increase the audience participation also. So these are all the main three advantages of using the PowerPoint presentations or keynote. But we should be very careful in the presentation planning. What is the objective of the presentation? At the end of the session, what the students will get or the audience will get. So we have to think about the objective of the presentation and who is the audience. Remember that depending upon the nature of the audience, our slides may be different or our preparation may be different. Suppose if you are taking classes for medical officers or for the professional organization, the classes organized by the professional organizations, CME programs, our talk should be clinic oriented or practitioner oriented. Never try to teach the theoretical part during a CME program for doctors. Suppose if you are taking classes for the common people through a Kudumbasri unit or local self-government program, then we have to concentrate more on the management side rather than the clinical features or symptomatology. How to manage a chicken pox or how to manage a case of jaundice like that. So management side. And if you would like to deliver a talk in the all in the radio or in the televisions, that also for the common people, then there should be more concentrate. You have to concentrate more on the management side rather than the classification or the anatomy, physiology, the symptom science, etc., etc. So management side. But if you are taking if you would like to take a training program for the medical officers as a workshop, then your preparation should be entirely different. So, the second point, who is the audience? Depending upon the nature of the audience, our slides and the method of presentations may be different. And how large is the audience? That you have to anchor at the beginning itself. And where is the presentation to be given? Whether in the classroom or in the theater or somewhere in the outside the campus or in the public. So, where is the presentation to be given? And how much time for the presentation and questions? That's also important. That you have to confirm from the organizers. Suppose if you will get 1 hour, prepare for 40 minutes. Sorry, prepare for the yes 40 minutes, and the rest of the time for the discussion, the questions, etc., etc. Now we have to check the auditorium or the classroom before our presentation. If you are delivering a class outside the campus or somewhere in some hotels, we have to check the auditorium. The light, that is also very important. We found in certain seminars, the entire light at the audience side and also on the presenter side, that is switched off. That should not be. We must have some light, some good light on the presenter and also on the audience side to take the notes. So this is not a cinema hall. We are not going to watch a cinema. So the light should be there in the auditorium, preferably preferably at the audience side and also on the speaker side. And we have to check the sound, so the audio and video and the seating arrangements. Depending upon the seating arrangement, you can walk through this audience. And the language, that is also very important. Suppose we are teaching for the common people, never use the medical terms or the English language. Use the regional language. And the voice modulation, that is also important. So in the preparation of slides, we have 8 into 9 rule. Always remember 8 into 9 rule. 8 lines per slide and 9 words in a line. Never copy a paragraph from the textbook or internet into the slide. Always remember 8 lines per slide and 9 words in a line, because only this much a brain can absorb at a time while listening to a speaker. So never copy paragraph, too much of data in a slide. A key point, limit to one slide and not more than 2 slides per point. Always remember, not more than 2 slides per point, because when you advance the slides, audience would like to see new point or new topic. That's the attitude of audience. When you advance the slides, they want to see something new, some new topic. And the text size should be large enough to be read from the back of the room also. Always remember, the last bencher should also read your slides. And some precautions, the bullets should be stand out separately and make all bullets of the same color or similar to that of the text or background. So the same shape and same color to the bullet, and the color contrast, that is also very important. I think it is very difficult to read the color contrast word that is mentioned here because of the lack of color contrastness. So enough color contrast between the text and the background, otherwise it is very difficult to read. Now watch this 3 minutes video. This is a situation nowadays.
Adams,
Here.
Adamley,
Here.
Adamowski, Adamson,
Here.
Adler,
Here.
Anderson, Anderson,
Here.
Bueller, 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 Bueller,
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Thank you, Simone.
No problem whatsoever.
Fry, Fry. In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue as at this point. This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
So this should not be the situation in the classroom. On the teacher's side, something wrong, and the student side, something wrong. So the teaching is always a tough task. So the presenter must be the center of attraction, even though you are using the PowerPoint or Keynote or any other aids. Presenter must be the center of attraction, not the slides. So make your own contribution while using the slides. You have to make your own contribution. The slides must supplement and not as a substitute. The slides are supplementing and not as a substitute of the speaker. And always remember the former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam. An influential speech. The presenter must be the center of attraction. Always remember, always think about the APJ Abdul Kalam. Now think about the Rajinikanth. Even though he has no story, no script, people want to see the Rajinikanth. So the students are coming not to see your slides, but to hear from you, but to hear about your class. Okay? So the presenter must be the center of attraction. The speaker should be the center of attraction, not the slide. So you have to make your own contribution while using the slides. And the color on the LCD may not be the same as on the monitor of your screen, because the monitor has millions of colors, but the projection system has only 256 colors. So the colors may be different. So select only the common colors. Otherwise it is very difficult to display and read. And something about the letters and background. High contrast color scheme should be used in slides. So the light letter on the dark background or the dark letter in a light background. So high contrast color should be in your slides. And something about the font size. It is better to use the common fonts like the Times New Roman, Arial, Tahoma, Comic Scan, MS, etc. Because that is available in almost all the computers. And the font size, the heading should be at least 36 point and text 29 points. So this may vary according to the nature of the auditorium. If you are presenting in a big auditorium, you have to increase the size of the font of the heading and also on the text. So always select the common fonts only. Otherwise, the font may display in a different way in different computers. And the letter case, the use of all capital letters make it very difficult to read. Never use all capital. Use of lower cases letters make it easy to read. The all caps is always an insult to the readers. Remember. And now we'll discuss something about the different methods and its benefits, its merits and demerits. So there are different methods of teaching and the average learning retention rate, that is also different. If you are lecturing at the end of the students, at the end of the session, the student will get only 5% of what you taught. So the retention rate or the learning rate is comparatively very poor in a lecture. That is only 5%. If you are reading, you will get 10% of learning retention. And if you are using an audio visual aid at the end of the session, the students will get or the audience will get 20%. And if you are using the method of demonstration, 30% is the retention rate. And the discussion group, clinical discussion, 50% is the retention rate. So that is why the clinical discussions is an unavoidable thing in professional colleges. And practice by doing. If you are doing a catheterization or if you are inserting an IV, so the practice by doing, that means 75% learning retention. And the last, the base in the pyramid, teaching others. If you are teaching others, the learning retention rate is the highest, 90%. Always remember. So, first, the top of the pyramid, auditory learning, followed by the visual learning and the kinesthetic learning. So, the kinesthetic learning is more important in professional college teaching. Okay, so the more you teach, the better you learn. So, teaching is a powerful tool to learning. Always remember the new generation teachers and the PG scholars. Teaching is a powerful tool to learning. Now, what is the difference between a teacher and professor? In your schools, you have teachers, in higher secondary also. But in professional colleges, we have assistant professor, associate professor, and professor. So, what is the difference between a teacher and professor? A teacher will teach the entire thing from the nook and corner of the syllabus and nook and corner of the textbook. But the professor will give you the syllabus and the book. The rest you have to study. But he will teach beyond the syllabus, beyond the boundaries of the campus, beyond the textbook, some learning experience. A means application level teaching. So that's the difference between a teacher and a professor. And remember, the postgraduate students are also teachers. Now, something about the micro teaching. What is meant by a micro teaching? That is usually practiced in professional college teachers. Micro teaching means less content, less time, less students. Less content, less time. That is 10 to 15 minutes. And the less in front of less number of students. So, see the round, micro teaching. Then macro teaching. So, micro teaching means is like putting a teacher under the microscope. Putting a teacher under the microscope, under supervision. So, a short lesson taught by a trainee teacher, preferably the postgraduate teacher or a new generation teacher. A short lesson taught by a trainee teacher to a small group of students or peers for a short period under skilled supervision. Under skilled supervision, that is micro teaching. And with a constructive feedback also. We will get the feedback immediately after our presentation of 5 to 10 minutes. That is micro teaching. That is commonly practiced in postgraduate institutes across India. So you have to change your vocabulary of teaching. Think differently. Children are no longer love yesterday's method of teaching. Informally, A for apple, B for boy, and C for cat. But now, A for Android, B for Blackberry, and C for cloud. So, your teaching is not so boring. Change your vocabulary of teaching and put your ego aside as a professor or as a head of the department or as a senior colleague. Always put your ego aside. Be ready to come down at the level of the students. Then teaching will become interesting. Be prepared and organized with the content, chapter, and the flow of deliberations of every class. Content, a chapter, and the flow of deliberations of every class. And never go unprepared, even though you are teaching the same subject in every year. Just before each class, you have to prepare. So never go unprepared. And assure a proper body language. That is also very important. It does not send any wrong message to the student, because even the students, they can observe even the nail paint of the teachers. For example, suppose your mobile phone cover, that may be damaged or teared. That will create a negative impression among the students. If you are placing that mobile phone in the OPD of the table of your OPD, the students and patient will see that damaged mobile phone cover. That will create a negative impression. And a dirt on your overcoat, that also create a negative impression among the students and the patient. Okay, so the posture, gesture, and facial expression, these are three important. Posture, gesture, and facial expression. Avoid repetitive gestures, movements, or words, because the students will count it. And how many times the teacher told that particular word. That may distract the students also. As you saw in the previous video, some teachers have the habit of repeatedly saying, let it be, and always pricking the nostrils or boring the nostrils. So this type of repetitive gestures, movements, or words, that may distract the students. They will count it. And never compare and blame other teachers for their work in public. More you blame, the more you lame. Always remember, never compare the other teachers for their work with the students or in the public. And we have to insert some videos and audios and pictures that is relevant to enhance the presentation. Limit the number to avoid distraction also. If you are inserting more videos and more audios, that will distract the audience. And avoid covering the text if you are placing an audio or video. And avoid complicated graphs and tables. Always present with the simple graph and tables. And keep the text to a minimum. See the image. This appeared in a newspaper. That means the entire state is in the verge of fever, affected by fever. So a picture or a video are worth of 1,000 words. So always support your presentation with the cases or research finding. If you are a postgraduate scholar, if you are presenting something to your colleague or to the UG students, your presentation should be supported by some cases or research findings, rather than merely presenting the anatomy, physiology, or the practice of medicine part. The postgraduate presentation should always be supported by some cases or research findings. So it is very easy to teach a concept or a fact with the help of this type of images. DNA double-stranded, RNA single-stranded. The student will get the concept or fact. It's very easy to teach. So pictures are worth than thousands of words. And if you are teaching the concept of multiple choice questions, this is very easy. Only one, that's the third one, is correct. So the student will get the concept on how to prepare for the MCQ. See, multiple choice questions will look like this. The answers will look like this. The students will get the concept or the fact. And if you are inserting the scanned images, at least in 256 color, and the resolution, the minimum resolution is 800 into 600, and you can use the BMP, JPG or GIF format if you are inserting the scanned images. And something about how to organize the slide. The first slide, that's a topic, the heading, then your name or designation, that may be the first slide. The topic of your presentation, your name, the designation, etc. Second slide must be the introduction, what you are going to say. And the last slide, that is thank you slide. And the slide before the thank you slide is the summary slide. Slide before the thank you slide, that's this is a summary slide or the conclusion. And slide before the summary slide is the question mark, the time for question, doubt clearance. Okay, so this is a method of organizing the slides in a PowerPoint. Now about the introduction. Give a brief introduction. That should be an interesting one also. That should connect the audience with their existing knowledges or belief. The introduction should connect the audience with their existing knowledge or belief. I will give a simple example. In the former days, if you are going to teach, now you are going to teach something about the softwares or the software repertorization. You can connect the audience with their existing knowledge. For example, in the earlier days, we need a lot of instruments for an orchestra, but now we need only a mobile phone. That is sufficient. In earlier days, we are using the text repertorization, then card repertory, now the computers are. So the difference. That means the connecting the audience with their existing knowledges or belief. In the earlier days, we have only text messages, then voice messages came, then emojis, now GIF. So how to communicate with the patient? Connecting the audience with their existing knowledges or belief. And always remember, the images or videos are good than text messages in the introduction slide. If you are using an image or a small video in the introduction slide, that is more better. So the customer satisfaction is always important. So the student satisfaction or the audience satisfaction, that is more important. They should get the concept or the fact at the end of your presentation. And the policy, say what you are going to say. That means the introduction, what you are going to say. Then say it, that is the content. And say what you said, that's a summary. So this is the policy. Tell them what you are going to tell them. Always give an introduction, what you are going to discuss. Then tell them, that is the content. Then tell them what you told them, the summary, that is an unavoidable thing. Then tell them what you told them. And avoid too much humor in professional college teaching. Some teachers are in the habit of always giving some humor, that even though that is not related to the subject, that is too bad. And avoid an abrupt end of the class. And that's okay, now that we will wind up today. It should not be like that. Give a brief summary of your presentation and give some time for the discussion or the questions, then end your session. And avoid much drama in classroom. Avoid much drama in classroom teaching. That should not be in professional college teaching. And avoid shouting in your class, because you have to use always the mic. Always use the mic. Avoid shouting, because at the end of the session you may be tired. So always use the mic if it is available. And we must need a positive perception, a positive thinking, a positive attitude about the self, about ourselves, and about the subject, and about the college, and about our students. We always think positive about our students, think positive about our institute, and think positively about our subject, and think positively about ourselves. And the grammar is important, and the modulation, that is very, very important. Avoid monotonous voice. How we can able to sleep in a train even though the sound is so high? Because that is rhythmic and monotonous. So the students will going to sleep if you are speaking in a monotonous voice. And always remember, in professional college teaching, the content and the academic excellence is more important than the style of teaching. Style is also important, but not only this style, the content and the academic excellence is more important in professional college teaching. And keep the time limit. If there are more speakers in a seminar session or in a conference, you have to keep your time limit. And the spelling and grammar, that is also important. Not much animations. Always remember, no transition and no much animations in professional college teaching, or if you are taking classes to a group of professionals or doctors. And the references, that is also very important. Always support your slides with the proper references. And you have to present the fact or concept, not too much of theory or the features, but you have to present the facts. At the end of the session, the students or the doctors should get the concept. So that is our aim. And during presentation, never look at the screens constantly. Some PG scholars are in the habit of always looking the screen constantly and never look at the laptop constantly. They are simply reading from the laptop, not looking to the audience or into the screen. And no bridge presentation. Never turn your back into the audience side. No breach presentation. And don't rush through your presentation also. If you have less time, present the fact about the existing slides and skip the remaining slides and give a conclusion at the end and thank you. That is enough. Don't rush through your presentation. Nothing will be retained in the memory of the audience. And keep an eye contact primarily with your audience, not with your visual aids. Many of the teachers, the new generation teachers and PG scholars are in the habit of simply reading the visual aids. Avoid reading your slides to your audience. If everybody you are going to read, there is no need for you to be there. The students can read, the audience can read. So keep an eye contact with the audience, with the students, not with the screen or not with your laptop or other visual aids. Never read your slides, always remember. And stage fear, that is also normal. Just don't show it. Stage fear is normal for everybody, but just don't show it. Now see this small video. This is a situation nowadays in majority of the colleges. Students are simply sitting without any reaction. So the teacher's role is great. It's a tough task to teach nowadays. So don't panic. You are not the only authority. Better to avoid the arguments with the students. You are not the only authority. And students are your friends. They like you. They want to hear from you. Take class in a simple, concise, and interesting manner. Always remember, if you are teaching in a college or outside the campus, take a class in a simple, concise, and interesting manner. I don't know everything. If you think like that, you know everything, you will become panic. And you are not the only authority. And never argue with the audience or the students. It is better to avoid the arguments. Doctor, your point is also right. You can give an answer like that. So don't worry, don't panic. And the size of your audience doesn't matter. Keep up the good work. Size is not an issue. And you should be energetic. The transfer of energy is only from a higher level to lower level. Similarly, the transfer of knowledge, that is also from a higher level to lower level. So you must be in an energetic position. And always remember this word. Teachers are facilitators of self-learning and not dictators of prefabricated notes. You have to encourage the students, motivate the students for more learning. The students should realize that this is an interesting subject, that I have to read more, that I have to learn more at the end of your teaching. And always maintain a proper dress code and give an introduction to the next class also. What we are going to discuss on the next class. So that also makes something interesting. Always give an introduction to your next class. And these are some areas. This found the new generation teachers on difficult to manage noises in the class. Never allow noises in the class. And sleepy student. Personally, I would like to recommend not to distract the sleepy students because they are not distracting you. So let them sleep. And the comedy, that is also important, but avoid too much of humor. And never repeat the same comedy in every class or every year. Never repeat the same comedy in every class or every year. And avoid arguments with the audience and the mannerism and the body language. That is also important. But never repeat the same things because the students will count it and that may distract the students also. So the mannerism and body language is very important. And always look for the reactions of the audience. Always look for the reactions of the audience, and depending upon that, You have to modify your presentation. And the teachers must have enthusiasm to teach. They must have enthusiasm to students, and they must have enthusiasm to homeopathy or any subject that you are teaching in your classroom. Since we have no B.Ed or M.Ed courses in medical profession, immediately after post graduation, we are supposed to teach without much B.Ed or M.Ed like training as in other professions. So the teachers must have enthusiasm to teach to the students and to your profession. Make your class worthwhile. Always remember, worthwhile, interesting, understandable, memorable, and the students or audience should get some take home message. Are facilitators or motivators of self learning. That's the role of a presenter. And try to start your classes on time. Punctuality is very important. If your classes is on 10:30, you should reach by 10:30 in your classroom. That is also very important. Punctuality is not about being on time. It is basically about respecting your own commitment. Basically, respecting your own commitment. And something about the question time. Always give at least 5 to 10 minutes at the end of and for the questions. Even though you are teaching for a professional college or outside the campus, always give some time for questions. Question time, because the question time is your opportunity to connect with your audience, whether they got something or not. An opportunity to connect. If they have no question, that means in majority of the instances they are not with you. And don't forget to repeat the question before answering so that everyone can hear. You have to repeat the question first to the audience and make this question time an interesting one, because that's really connecting you with your audience. And always give references in medical presentation. Effective use of reference materials in the preparation of talk. Cited the sources on the slides in a footnote using AP or Vancouver style. Included a list of reference on your last slide. If not possible on every slide, at least you have to give on the last slide. Include hyperlinks to the authoritative websites on the topic. So the referencing, that is an unavoidable thing in professional college teaching or presentation. And suppose if you are organizing classes to the organizations like that of the professional organization, the continuing medical education programs organized by different organizations. Always remember, the medical audiences want evidence of validity, authority, and currency of information. That means we have to update. In front of us, the practitioners or clinicians are sitting, not the students. So the scenario is entirely different. They want evidence of validity, authority, and something that is beneficial for their clinical practice. But unfortunately, the majority of the PGs or the teachers are used to teach the same topic with the same notes or slides throughout their service. That is not good. If you are teaching a bogus repertory from the beginning of your career, at the end of the career after 20 to 25 years, you are teaching the same topic bogus. That is not good. You have to change the topic, and we have to update the slides every year. We have to update the slides. Even though you are teaching the same topic, we have to update. We have to add something. We have to delete something. So never use the same slide for teaching the next year students. Suppose if you are teaching about the software training, the radar opus or the ISIS or the homeopathy, if you are teaching, never use the same slide, because the software is already updated every year. So it is very difficult to teach by using an old slide. So 3 to 6 hours of preparation, 1 hour of presentation. For 1 hour of presentation, you have to prepare for 3 to 6 hours. And always rehearse your presentation. Preparation is the most important thing. Always rehearse your presentation. Tell your audience about your objectives of this talk. Always remember. And don't try to teach too much in 1 hour of lecture, because your audience will take only 3 to 4 major points. Don't try to teach too much of points in 1 hour lecture. From 1 hour, they will get only 3 to 4 points. Spoke at a reasonable rate, not too fast and slow. Not too fast or slow. And avoid unwanted repetition also. Avoid unwanted repetition in the slides. And we have to expect something unexpected because of the technical problems. We have to expect something. Suppose if you are presenting in a remote area, just to copy your PowerPoint presentation or these videos or animations in a pen drive or in the mail, or you have to copy in addition to your to your mobile phone also, and you have to prepare with some handouts or notes so that you can present even even at the time of power failure. And you have to check the PowerPoint version at the venue also, because that is very important. And always present in the presenter mode so that you can read the notes. Okay, so copy into your mobile phone, into your pen drive, and always keep a handout. And always copy, I mean, send it to your personal this email ID also, so that you can download when your pen drive that may fail because of some technical problems. And you have to practice remote and mouse control, check graphic compatibility, and discuss your need also. You have to check the graphic compatibility of the system also. So the only thing constant in life is change. The teacher who teaches us some more valuable than our syllabus deserve a massive respect. Always remember, it is a desire of every student that their teacher will give them some meaningful learning experience beyond the syllabus, beyond the boundaries, and beyond the textbook. Now we'll have some evergreen quotes on teaching. Evergreen quotes on teaching. Read this very carefully. A teacher without clinical skills or private practice will not arouse faith of the students, especially he is teaching a clinical subject. A clinical teacher, for example, if he is teaching a surgery, gynecology, repertory, materia medica, practice of medicine, whatever it may be, you must have some good clinical skills or practice in the at least in the college. Some good number of patients. Otherwise, the students will not believe anything. Remember, it is a skill that can be mastered only through practice. At least 7 presentation, that is sufficient. You will become a good lecturer or speaker. So it is a skill that can be mastered only through practice. And remember the famous words of VKS Menon. Your talk should be like the miniskirt, large enough to cover the subject, but short enough to make it interesting. Our presentation should be like this: large enough to cover the subject, but short enough to make it interesting. And the teachers are readers. Reading comes only when you have an extraordinary desire to assimilate the knowledge. Teachers are lifelong learners, lifelong readers. Reading comes only when you have an extraordinary desire to assimilate the knowledge. And remember the famous words of Rabindranath Tagore: a lamp can never light another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. So also a teacher never truly teach unless he is teaching himself. Teachers are learners. Unless he is teaching himself, a teacher never truly teach. Famous words of Rabindranath Tagore. Teaching should not be a profession, it must be a passion. Only then can education move from imposition of fact to exploration of truth. That should be a passion. Never select the teaching profession simply for the purpose of getting a job. That should be a passion. Teaching is far from something we only need to learn if we contemplate a career in future. And one of the basic requirement of a good teacher or speaker is his ability to retain the interest of the students. Always remember, imagine the APJ Abdul Kalam, influential speaker, ardent speaker, influential speech. So the basic requirement of a good teacher or speaker is his ability to retain the interest of the students, at least for 1 hour. The students should be with you. Now I will give you some good resources so that you can learn more about the teaching profession. One website is medicalteacher.org. So there is a journal also, Medical Teacher. The medical teaching is entirely different from the arts and science college teaching or from the primary school or upper primary school of teaching. Medical teaching is entirely different. But unfortunately, we don't have these M.Ed or B.Ed courses in medical teaching. And the facultyfocus.com, that's also a good website. And these are all some good references that you can read. These are the consulted work for this presentation. And if you would like to have more presentations like this, just visit the homeobook.com. There is a section called Books and Journals on Effective Medical Teaching and Training. Hundreds of books are available on medical teaching and training. Essentials in Medical Education and Teachers and Training, Dr. G.N. Prabhakara. Effective Teaching, A Measure of Excellence, Dr. Matthew Thomas. Toolkit for Academic Leaders, compiled by Rivals, Education in India, Padma Ramachandran, How to Become a Successful Orator, Dr. Milind, Excellent Presentation, Dr. Jayanthi Nyoki. There are a lot of books and articles are available on specifically on the medical teaching that is available on the homeobook.com. So far we have discussed about how to prepare good PowerPoints or keynotes, how to organize the slides, how to present the seminars, how to become a good lecturer or speaker, and the attributes and responsibilities of a homeopathic faculty or any other medical faculty, and some evergreen quotes. These are all the things we already discussed, and we need teachers with skill and faith. Never select the teaching profession as a job. You can opt some other job. So we need teachers with skill and faith. And always remember the teachers are lifelong learners. Otherwise, it is very difficult to teach. The lifelong readers, otherwise, it is very difficult to teach. The famous words of Mahatma Gandhi: a teacher is the best gift to a student. And visit our website homeobook.com and also our Facebook page Homeopathy Homeobook. This is the largest Facebook group in India discussing anything related to the homeopathy. And please subscribe to our channel also if you would like to get more videos like this. And that's all for the time being. I think you got an overall idea about how to become a good speaker or how to become a good teacher. And that's all for the time being. Thank you.